Welcome to the Binoculars. My channel focuses solely on exposing lies and presenting the truth and standard perspectives to you.
Research has shown that students who use voucher programs to leave a public school and then attend a private school do worse academically.
Inequity.
But where did you go to school?
That's
but
not,
then didn't you get to go to a private school?
Here's what's interesting.
And they need to be able to pay the balance.
No, it's the taxpayer dollar flowing, and that's what a voucher is. It's not paying it.
No, there is no last thing right now. We're going to go to break, and then we're going to come back.
President-elect Trump has appointed Linda McMahon to be the Secretary of Education, which brings us to the point of this video. These women on The View have no idea what they're talking about because they're at each other's throats as it pertains to school vouchers, which is a what? Government-funded scholarship. But don't tell Sunny Holston that, because when she gets fact-checked by Alyssa Griffin, all hell breaks loose. So without further ado, let's hop into this and debunk these lies.
And what happens with vouchers, the studies show very clearly that they fund students who are already attending private schools. So people with money get those vouchers, use the vouchers to pay less for their private schools, and their kids go on to do well. Where do you get the money from vouchers? You pull those money from those poor schools, those poor schools. Let me just finish this. So wealthy families are overwhelmingly the recipients of school voucher tax credits. I'm not making this up. This has been studied. In 2020, a 2020 study found that only about half of states with voucher programs require teachers to have a bachelor's degree, require teachers to have training, require teachers to have licensing, require participating private schools.
If I may get in, just to make it a conversation.
But because I have children and because I looked at
I went to public school. I believe you got to go to private school.
There is zero statistical significance.
You got to go to private school.
Because nobody can figure out what's being said here right now. No, there is no last thing right now. We're going to go to break, and then we're going to come back.
All right, so if you're following along, then you know by now where Sunny Holston is about to go with this, right? Which is that she believes that people who are using school vouchers that get to go to these private schools, that there is no net benefit. There's no net positive. In fact, it's the polar opposite. It doesn't work. Now, she doesn't have any sources, data, surveys, polls. She only has her lived experience to draw from, which is actually a big contradiction because herself went to private school. And when Alyssa brings that up, watch her reaction.
I personally worked on the DC Opportunity Scholarship Program when I was working in Congress. In that program alone, which is a charter school system, it experienced a 21% increase in graduation rates. There are conflicting statistics, but according to Morning Consult, the majority of Americans support health savings account, vouchers, and the taxpayer money following the students. It is my belief, as somebody who grew up in the public school system, believes in it, and was grateful to be in a really good school district. If you're in a school that's falling behind and your parent wants to give you the opportunity to get a leg up, your tax dollars should follow you.
But you're a school charter person, and this is part I don't understand. Doesn't it come down to less the result and more the choice of isn't the fight for the parents to say they choose it? Is that what most people are supporting?
It's simply that a parent should be able to make the best choice for their student. But I also think that there are schools that are falling behind. It doesn't mean they don't deserve education, but I don't think students should be victims of a falling behind school. Their life is at stake in it, their future, their earning potential.
But see, you went to a good school. I wasn't in a good school district. That's the inequity.
But where did you go to school?
In the South, I had to start school in the South Bronx projects. But
then didn't you get to go to a private school?
Here's what's interesting.
Okay, so you could see that at this point, I mean, I feel like I do this every day, right? Where get to see Alyssa and Sunny Holston at each other's throats because Alyssa's just fed up, okay? I get that the one thing that brings all of these ladies together is they all hate Trump. There's no question about that. But clearly there are some differences. And so you're looking at a never Trumper versus a hardcore race hustling progressive. And I would also add in racist Sunny Holston. And sooner or later, they're not going to see eye to eye. And we're witnessing this every step of the way. Now, what Alyssa is actually alluding to, which is really funny, Sunny, you were claiming that vouchers don't have any benefit, but you are a beneficiary of school voucher because you went to a private school. So make it make sense.
I do want to be very clear-eyed about the policies. And so the last point that I was going to make is there is zero statistical significance that voucher programs improve overall student success. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Research has shown that students who use voucher programs to leave a public school and then attend a private school do worse academically.
So Sunny Holston is trying to use her lived experience to say that when someone uses a school voucher, which is a government-funded scholarship, that money is being taken away from public school. Now, let's say we run with that logic, that is actually happening. What's more important, putting the responsibility and the onus on the parent, who clearly is responsible for the child, or putting it on the government? I'm sure any parent out there does not want the government solely responsible for the educational needs for their child. I think they would want to step up, right? Which is why school choice inherently is a common sense approach.
Your education should not be tied to where you live. Should not be tied to your. No, it's actually not, because what happens with school,
the argument for busing.
But what happens with it's an argument for busing, not school choice, because what happens is when you live in an impoverished neighborhood like I lived in, you do not get the funding. The funding under a voucher program is taken away from your school and given to another school.
But on the flip side of that very same argument is why school choice advocates say your zip code should not determine your outcome. You should, there's this great school, Duke Ellington in D.C. It's a performing arts school.
That's a great
It brings
school.
kids from parts of D.C. that are falling behind, but if they can get in, their life can be completely wonderful.
But you just said the magic word.
Well, they need to have parents who are involved.
Well, not even.
And they need to be able to pay the balance. And they can't.
No, it's the taxpayer dollar falling, and that's what a voucher is. It's not paying it.
Schools, people have to pay attention to our kids, and they don't.
All right, so guys, we have a failure to comprehend. We have a clear malfunction on this show, and it's quite sad that these are women. These are mothers, and they literally have no idea what they're talking about. This is not rocket science, people. This is 1 + 1 = 2. It is very simple. School voucher is exactly what it sounds like, okay? A government-funded scholarship that helps the parent send the kid to their ideal school. It does not matter the zip code. But for some reason, in Sunny's head, that's not the way that she sees it. And by default, if you are for school choice, you would not support being limited by your zip code. I mean, everybody inherently hates that idea. And of course, who's truly paying these school vouchers? It's me, it's you, it's people who pay their taxes. But in the eyes of Sunny Holston, no, that's not what's happening. We are taking money away from these public schools. Okay, can we just be honest really quick for a second? Why is the government in charge of public education to begin with? Right? Don't you think that is actually the root cause of the problem? Not necessarily the school itself. It's the fact that everything that is happening in a public school system originates from the Department of Education. Maybe it's not a bad idea to shut it down. So Sunny is trying to save something that is unsavable, okay? It needs to be blown up. It needs to start from scratch. We need to put the responsibility on parents and on our communities and invest more into private, charter, homeschooling. There are so many alternative options here that could really be more successful for kids today. Now, when I went to school, things were different. I'm sure when you went to school, things were different. We didn't have iPads, we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have the internet. But today, due to the fact that exists, the schooling has changed dramatically. Okay, so now let's hear what Linda McMahon has to say. Thank you, Mr. President, for your trust in me to serve as the Secretary of Education, and I'm hopeful of Senate confirmation. I'm deeply honored and humbled for this opportunity, and I am committed to working tirelessly to ensure every student has access to a quality education. That already implies what? School choice. I've witnessed the transformative power of education both in the classroom and also in apprenticeship programs. All students should be equipped with the necessary skills to prepare them for a successful future. Now, as a lifelong entrepreneur, someone who served in the military, clearly I do you too, I can't tell you how powerful apprenticeship programs truly are. When you get to take your hands and work with someone who's already mastered it, you're going to learn way faster than in a classroom, okay? So there's that. I look forward to working collaboratively with students, educators, parents, and communities to strengthen our educational system, ensuring every child, regardless of their demographics, is prepared for a bright future. Thank you for the extraordinary opportunity. I am ready to serve. Now, that's what she had to say. But hear what Joy Behar had to say.
But Linda
Especially in
McMahon,
math and
who is
English.
the head of the Department of
That's just the
Education, gave $21 million to Trump. And that's why she's in that position.
If I could just respond to that,
Dr. Oz won 5 Emmys, and that's why he's in that position.
I personally work.
Okay, so we're not surprised at the deranged statement there from Joy Behar. Of course, she has to throw that in there. And guys, listen, what do you guys think about school choice and particularly school vouchers? Are you in the camp that believes that's absolutely necessary? We need to continue to fund that. Or are you in the category of Sunny Holston that believes it's actually a detriment to the public education system and there really is no benefit to it? Let me know what your answers are in the comments section below and what your perception is of this story. Now, there was a bombshell verdict today that dropped, which was Lincoln Riley's murderer was found guilty on all 10 counts. And you got to see this for yourself when they announced the verdict. It's really chilling. But that's not really the story. The actual story is how a unhinged ABC journalist, minutes after the verdict was read, started to blame Trump for the murder itself. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and share this channel with your friends. Stay tuned for more truth and insightful perspectives. Your support helps us grow and reach more people.